Hi there, just a video regarding the narrative surrounding the West Indies-Pakistan test the other day. And just to look really at whether those whether the attendance, the very low attendance in that match, or certainly the striking images of empty seats in that match, are, a further sign of the old chestnut about the death of Test cricket, and what can be done about it. Right, so firstly, I think we've had a big enough gap between the last time West Indies were a top Test side and now. I would say 31 years approx since we were the last a decent Test side. It kind of limped on until about 2000, but it's around then, and I think that there's a big enough gap now for people to stop going on and on about the decline of West Indian cricket. I'm afraid that's it for them as a Test nation. That they're no longer a top Test nation at cricket. Um, you know, that's it. They were a great side, produced some of the best cricketers of all time. They still excelled in T20 cricket, but as a Test side, I'm afraid that's it. It's sad, but you just can't keep having commentators going on and on and on and on forever about um, the fact that they used to be good and what a shame it is they're not anymore. I mean, that's the case with Preston North End. It's a case, sadly for Everton. It's a case for a lot of sporting teams or countries. Um, it's a case for Uruguayan football. They won two early World Cups and haven't won any since. It's been almost 100 years. I mean, how far do you want to keep going back? I think commentators need to stop kind of this lament, and also it's no good for West Indian fans to be patronised all the time, and cricketers to have this false expectation. Um, you know, you were kind of invincible in the 70s and 80s and maybe early 90s. Um, so why are you rubbish now? It's not really Greaves' fault. That's nothing to do with him. That's just a long structural decline over decades, and there's nothing those players now can do about it. Um, I so that's the first thing I'd say, just as a kind of a minor point at the beginning. And we do get these stories, non-stop. I mean, you even get them from, Mike Atherton, who's a big fan of West Indian cricket, but I'm not sure if it helps if he keeps going about Clive Lloyd all the time and things like that. I mean, even a lot of my early memories of the West Indies, I saw um, Curtly Ambrose' last ever match. I saw Brian Lara play and Walsh. These are legends that I don't think it would be easy for people to quantify how good they are nowadays when people are just used to Wallies with Chris sponsors on their shirts, hitting mediocre plays into seats full of like 8-year-olds. I mean, these guys were seriously amazing cricketers. So I do understand this kind of lament, um, but those days are gone. So just more broadly then, the implications for Test cricket. There was a lot made of the first day in Trinidad, and whether you saw the players lined up for the minute silence for the late great Sir Garfield Sobers, and it was striking the number of empty seats that were on show. Why is that? And is Test cricket dying? And is there a way of saving it? Right. The reason is um, there's two reasons. The first reason, in this particular case, like I say, the West Indies haven't been good at Test cricket for about 30 odd years, and people don't want to pay hard-earned money or take time off work to watch their country lose. And I think that's a bit of a warning to Key, Gould and Thompson. You're not going to get, I used to take time off work to go and watch England and pay money, go around the country watching them. I don't really like. That was really more enjoyable when there was like Flower or Bayliss in charge. It's not really enjoyable when it's McCollum, and the side just give up in some kind of fatalistic, you kind of fit of peak, and so it's not in any way kind of encouraging to go and watch that. So that's one reason. So I don't blame them at all there. Um, and you've got to say, like, an entertainment. Do you, if you've got a set, finite amount of money, do you go to, I don't know, a pop concert, or go to the pub, or go to the cinema, or watch some mediocre kind of medium pacer trundling in against some mediocre batsman? Um, in some cases, we've been bloody done for spots fixing in a kind of franchise league, or or whatever. Do you really want to do that? And do these Test series actually mean anything now? And that's the issue. Now they brought in the World Test Championship to kind of give meaning to these series, right? These kind of two Test series that don't really seem to mean anything. But it was a good idea. It was um, a good initiative, because they were becoming meaningless. But I don't think it's worked, in the sense that if you have no chance of qualifying for the World Test Championship final, West Indies, Pakistan, England, sadly, then these games are meaningless still. So um, there's no relegation, so you can finish bottom or you can finish third, doesn't matter. So the the World Test Championship hasn't kind of ameliorated that, and you still tend to get the same pattern of kind of Australia, England having a high kind of attendances for Test cricket, and other countries not so. Oh, also, there's basically real life and reality in the fact you can't unscramble an omelette. People don't watch Test cricket in the main across the world in the same way that people don't listen to kind of 1930s music, or um, dress like someone from the 1930s now. It's just, times change, different tastes, whatever. And also the fact that it's been surpassed by T20. Now, I'm not saying this with any relish. I prefer Tests, but it has been surpassed by T20. And for many people, mostly, say, someone under 30, when they think of cricket, they don't think of guys in whites. Um, uh, they think of franchise cricket. They think of something very different. Um, and so you can't change that. You can't change that kind of mindset. And kind of cricket's evolved a bit like, the ancestor of the ape evolving, into a human. It just evolved. Now, the difference is that kind of missing link um, died out, and the human emerged. Here we've still got the kind of, well, not missing links because they're still here, but the links. So you've still got Test cricket, you've still got 50 over cricket, and you've got um, a kind of a T20 cricket. So it wasn't like T20 emerging automatically ended the other two, and maybe from a Darwinian sense it should have done. But so you've got these three kind of jockeying for position, and uh, and that's a big issue. Like I said in the previous video before, cricket can't say, who is the best side in the world. Is it South Africa, the World Test champions? Is it um, Australia, the one day world champions? Or is it India, the world T20 champions? So it's a funny one that you've still got those three forms of the game carrying on, and that at least one of them were not kind of eliminated. So that's an issue. What what is the future for it, and is there any way of kind of rectifying anything? Graham Smith, who is someone who knows his cricket and should be listened to, did say that he worried that from 2027 onwards, at the end of the cycle, the end of the World Cup, end of the cycle, he really thinks that there'll be far less international cricket, and the franchise league will grow even bigger. Now, if he says that, he's someone in the know. He's not a fool. Then I kind of believe him, and it does look that way, really. Um, and it'll be harder and harder to justify these bilateral Test series between West Indies and Pakistan, or indeed England and Pakistan. We've got Pakistan coming over in a few weeks. I mean, I like, even me as a cricket fan, I'm more interested in watching kind of repeats of Rising Damp and the Likely Lads on Rewind TV, and that's TV than that series. I mean, the series is completely irrelevant. Two really mediocre sides. None of them can qualify for the World Test Championship. And but with really expensive tickets. So the ticket costs don't reflect the quality, in a sense that, I don't know, tickets for like an amazing band might cost more than, like a pub band. In here, this is like a very mediocre, I would say, second tier stand of Test cricket between these two nations. But you're still charged 150, 175 quid at Lords for it. So I would not say um, that even the traditional kind of cricket fans can defend the current status quo in Test cricket. So it's not it's not it's not going to take a great profit to predict the fact that after 2027 there'll be far fewer bilateral series in all formats of the game, and that there'll be a time when there is just a small window for international cricket, and that may be the World Cups. It may even just be the Olympics. It's an Olympic sport again now, so it may just be the Olympics, and there might be the odd Test series, maybe something like the Ashes or the Border Gavaskar Trophy, and that might be it. And then that kind of loses its context, and it seems a bit unnecessary. But is the future of cricket just franchise? And that might be it. And so to keep making these noises about, what do we do about Test cricket? Isn't it bad? I mean, this has been happening for ages, and no one cares. And the same people lamenting it are promoting things like the 100. So it seems to me to be like crocodile tears, right? And so finally, is there anything they can do, anything to ameliorate this? Any kind of is there any kind of solution to this issue, or is this just inevitable? I would say it is now inevitable, and cricket is changing and evolving now into just a commercial entity, and a more of an sports entertainment like wrestling. You'll find in some of those franchise leagues, even in the IPL, there are a lot of games that are like wrestling, in more than just the presentation style, if you know what I mean. There are, um, you, you talk about prearranged kind of runs or wickets, or you kind of spot fixing. These things do happen a lot in franchise leagues, but probably happen a lot in Test and 50 over and T20 as well, let's be honest, but even more so in these franchise leagues. So, that's why you're moving towards this sports entertainment model. Now, there are some things they could at least try, right? They could try to actually get the bloody 90 overs in a day, which they're supposed to. And a way of doing that, my suggestion was to give 6 runs to the team for every over, to the batting side, for every over that isn't bowled in that day. So obviously, if the team is 5 overs short, the batting side gets 30 runs as extras because they didn't bowl those overs. It's something like that. So then you're getting more cricket in. Now that's not going to solve the issue, but that's just one small thing. Play in any light. The light is meant. The light rule, the bad light rule, was meant for danger, not just the best conditions ever for a batsman to play in. So if it's swinging more or turning more, so what? That's the breaks. That is not. It's only meant for danger, and if it's some kind of medium pacer like Ollie Robinson just bowling in a channel or something, you can't go off a bad light. He's not going to kill you. So things like that would be a big that would probably be a bigger factor in getting more people involved. Rain as well. I think, like other sports, they could play a bit more in the rain. Like it's tricky to play in the rain, but is it not tricky for rugby players to play in the rain, or footballers? You have to think, if you are moving into an entertainment and people have paid all that money, probably try and stay out as long as possible. That you can understand the batsman in that situation wanting to go off, but tough luck. The umpires should just keep them on, unless there's something like thunder. There's a lot of time in England when it's just drizzle, it's constant drizzle, and you just think that you could just play in that. So things like that would be an issue. I don't know whether 2 divisions would save in inverted commas Test cricket. It would make the quality of cricket better for the top divisions, for teams who support for fans who support teams in the top division. They'll get to watch better games more frequently. Um, so that would be something. But I think basically the kind of summary of this video is: please, can commentators stop lamenting West Indian cricket? It sounds condescending. They won yesterday, so well done to West Indies. They won yesterday. They're never going to be the same as they were all those years ago. It sounds really patronising, and it's just one of those things where there was a great side years ago, and that's it. And you just have to kind of accept that, and not just expect Greaves to be like Courtney Walsh or Curtly Amper. It's not happening. And Athanaze to be like Brian Lara. These things are not happening. That's number one. Number two, stop going on about these empty seats as if that's a new thing. It's been happening a lot in the last couple of decades, and it's more and more frequent since franchise cricket has come in. People only have a certain amount of money to spend. They only have a finite amount of money and can't see every single game. Test cricket doesn't seem relevant anymore to the new fan, and doesn't seem as interesting to the new fan. In countries like England and Australia, it will still sell out. But we'll see for how much longer, though. But in the currently probably will still sell out. But even then, it might lose its relevance. And there's probably not much we can do about that. It would be nice to try things like a better bad light rule, making sure all the overs are bowled. But although it's a worthwhile, I probably think that still won't change cricket, the direction of cricket, which is evolving into a franchise-based sports entertainment.